Race 6 of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup in Moritz in Switzerland, the final European leg of the World Swing as we head to North America next time out. Hey everybody, welcome to the Monaco of ice sliding as we get ready for the second and deciding heat. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me in the booth, American slider Greg West. And Greg, again, like in the men's race, some familiar faces in the top three in the women's encounter. Yeah,
go figure. The Olympic gold medalist sitting in contention for a medal. I mean, who would have thunk it, right? Nah, Yamaha has a great run. They had a pretty solid start time as well. The German speeds have really had it figured out here this week, and she showed it right there. She's sitting back in third, 2200s out of the lead on this track. That's not out of the question. Sitting in second, Stephanie Schneider. They had a pretty decent start with a 5:50, the second fastest start of the heat. Coming down with the second fastest downtime as well, sitting 1200s out of the gold right now, ducking under the cowling there. But your leader, the Americans, Alana Myers-Taylor and Lauren Gibbs, set the world on fire with a 5:36, fastest start time by far, has 1400ths on the field, but then also had really big speed late. Good looking run from Alana. She's got a couple things that she can clean up, but that's your top three after the first heat.
And Alana, a three-time winner in the last 3 seasons on this track. 3 years ago, she won with Lauren Gibbs. 2 years ago with Brianna Jones. Last year with Lolo Jones. Looking for 4 straight here. Stephanie Schneider, Mariama Yamanka, the only women to have won medals, gold medals this season. Alana's been on the podium in every race, but has yet to claim victory. Disappointment for Kati Beil of Austria. One of the runners of her sled was in the sun too much, half a degree over the mandatory maximum temperature. There's Alana just checking the runners. They're polished, Greg, like the skeleton sled, to mirror perfection to try and reduce any tiny amount of friction. And it's all the sleds are upside down there in the sun. You've got to monitor that very closely to make sure you don't have runners that are too hot.
Yeah, normally at most events you have the sleds actually sitting in the shade or covered with an umbrella or a tent. Here in St. Moritz, not always the case, but the rules are the rules. Everybody knows them. Everybody knows as to play by the same set, and half a degree is still half a degree.
Yeah, somebody gets caught out pretty much every year by it. The sun's always out here in St. Moritz, 300 days a year of sunshine. And despite the fact that it can sometimes be achingly cold, it is very sunny. Well, feeling no pain today on the track so far. Alana Myers-Taylor, she just flowed down here like a river of mercury. So smooth, so fast. And she has a handy lead going into the second heat. Our identical twin sisters, Evelyn and Rahel Rebsamen, will be first off. They were 11th in the first heat for Switzerland, followed by Andrea Greco, Martina Fontenev, Brittany Reinbold, Nadezhda Seger of Russia, Anne van Nieuwenhuis, Anna Koehler and Misha McNeil. And then the final three, the Olympic champion and the reigning world champion in the top 3 as they battle for medals. Second deciding heat, race 6 of the Women's Bobsleigh World Cup, Moritz in Switzerland. Martin Haven, Greg West, watching the action trackside with you as identical twins, Evelyn and Rahel Rebsamen. Last year, both breaking in Swiss sleds. This year, racing together. Only the second time in history that twins have competed in bobsled. 2 American brothers competed in the early part of this century, but never identical twin women.
5:55 start time. They improve it by 200ths, but once again, she has trouble with the push bar, getting settled going into kink 1. But look how low she is sitting in that sled. A little bit more confidence in the body language in the sled than the first run, and you're already seeing it manifest itself as she's having a much cleaner top.
Well, Evelyn was 6th here last year with Sabina Hafner driving. They were 9th in the Winter Games, so she's never driven before this season. And she and her sister both took turns. Rahel crashed the sled 5 times. Evelyn didn't. Evelyn got to be the driver.
Much better line through Horseshoe, in through Shamrock, Telephone, into the bottom of the track, going through the 4 rights here. 1:15.1, good speed. Let's see if she can do what she did in practice and close everybody.
This is what she was doing in training. The first run was not what we saw in training. The second heat definitely is. 1:37.38, little rattle on the wall in the final corners, and a 1:08.95. That's quarter of a second and more faster than their first heat.
Much better run there from the twins. I just think that the first run, first World Cup, a lot of pressure, a lot of things happening behind the scenes, and nerves are a thing, and that's why racing is racing, and what makes it interesting. Anything can happen, but that's a much better second run from them. I think they're going to be a lot happier. You see her coming through kink 1 here. She was not loaded in the sled. That's on her.
And she wasn't even holding the handle. She was still trying to get in, so they ran it a little deep. But look, no shortage of bravery. Remember in the first heat, front and back bunks hit the woodwork. This time, she just gave it a friendly little caress, and down she went. Nice line. Welcome back to the World Cup, ladies. Twin sisters, the Hindle brothers, the only other twins to compete in bobsled. Andrea Greco of Romania next up with Teodora Vlad, her great woman. Teodora had one World Cup race last year, and she's been the #1 in the sled this season. 16th World Cup of her driving career for Andrea, who started out as a brake woman. 2 races this year, 5th in Koenigsegg, 10th in Innsbruck.
See what they can do here on the start. 5:54, 200 slower than the first heat, and we'll see again. The sun has already came out and I think really greased up the track. You can see all of the tracks from the 2-man and the 2-woman sleds from earlier. She's got 3,400s in the bank going in the wall, but the twins had a pretty good run.
Yeah, they did. So she has a first heat advantage that will definitely stand her in good stead. One thing we've spotted about Andrea Greco in the last season is that she is really starting to perform superbly as a driver.
Nice looking line. Nash Dixon into horseshoe, takes about 3/4 the way up the hill, pulling away out to a half-second lead, 1:05.1. So good speed on the exit of horseshoe. We'll see if she can maintain it through the bottom with a half-second, make it 6/10 in the bank. I don't see her falling back.
Nice looking run from Andrea Greco of Romania. She's really finding her feet as a driver. First couple of trips she took 2 years ago was a little hit and miss. This year really on form. Across the line, 1:08.35, and in the first heat, that would have left her 400 out of the medals.
Great looking run there from the Romanians.
63 hundredths of a second better than her first heat. She is definite top 5 material every time she hits the ice, this woman.
Now, really hard to pick that apart, especially if you're looking here at she's going through kink 1, gets up on the corner a little bit. The sled looks like it's going to come back, but the runner tips are perfectly straight ahead. John Morgan would approve.
Yep.
And then we see her coming out of the horseshoe. We're going to start calling that corner courage. You got to go up to the roof, and she gets real close. Exit Martineau, little tap in the wall. We're going to see that from 10 of the 11 sleds in the field. So.
Well, this year there's still ice on that. Often there's woodwork there over the railway bridge. Next up, Martina Fonteneve of Switzerland with Irina Strabel, the brake woman. Now, Martina is the regular World Cup driver for Switzerland, but she too runs in a long way into the first corner. The push bar does not come back in because she daren't take her hands off the D-rings. You can't drive these things one-handed. It's not a steering wheel. You're pulling on 2 metal hawsers, and if you let one go, the sled will steer itself in the wrong direction.
That hurt pretty bad. She's down an entire kilometer an hour on Andrea Greco. We'll see what the split is here. She's dropped 2/10 already. Hangs it up a little bit on Sunny, a little bit early into Nash. Cleans it up into Dixon, but how hard did she have to work to get that?
There was only 100th between her and Andrea Greco in the first heat. We've got a very tight bunch of sleds we're right in the middle of.
1:03.7. She's down a kilometer an hour and a half. She needs a really good bottom of the track. She's going to have to start reeling it in at some point. She's going to drop 1 spot.
Well, the real worry for her after training when the twins were flying was that they would outperform her here, and she will be in front of them, but not by much after their second heat was much cleaner and hers was not. So Andrea Greco and Teodora Vlad live in the leader's box, and at least a little bit of relief. 1:08.90, her first heat 1:08.97 for Martina Fonteneve, but the track much quicker. And she did not get a handle on it, Greg.
No, she definitely had a little bit rough run, and it started from the top. We see her going through horseshoe here. Doesn't quite take it as high as her countrywoman does. Can't really see the eyes as she comes out in the telephone. Then coming out of Gunter Sachs, just that little tap on the wall. Not really a bad line. And then out of Martineau, same thing. Just that little brush. We're going to see that from pretty much everybody.
Yep.
But just did not generate the speed.
Romania leads, Switzerland second and third, 8 to go. First of whom, Brittany Reinbold. Good start with Jessica Davis. And then the first part of the track was strong, but when the speed picked up lower down, it just got a little bit away from her.
Let's see what these can do on the start. 5:59 in the first heat. Down and smooth, still a little rough load.
Got to get in, get down before the first corner. 5:62 get away.
300 slower, and that's the fourth fastest velocity. And when you take a little tap like that, going down in the wall, that makes that straightaway just a little bit longer.
They were 500s ahead of the Romanians. They started 800 slower, so as they sat down, they're already in the hole.
Little rough through snake 1 and snake 2. Brittany's letting it fly. 1500s back. She's gonna need a really good Nash Dixon, and she hits.
Yeah, she was late out of Sunny into Nash and Dixon. Let's see if she's got height in the horseshoe, middle, and hits again. And that's just gonna wipe speed off the sled, and exactly the same issues out of horseshoe as she had in the first trip. She's gonna drop back down the order.
Yeah, Britt's gonna want this one back. She's tapped a couple times down the track. The sled gets really sideways out of Shamrock and killed a ton of speed. We're gonna see it here. Down on speed, almost 3K on the rest of the field, and in bobsled, that is huge.
Yeah, that's a lifetime. Drops to the tail of the field. So 109.39, her first heat was a 108.93, and all of those errors, in fact, were worse than the first run. So that's a disappointment for Brittany Reinbold and Jessica Davis.
She looks a little confused on that one, but when she watches it back, there are just some spots that, I mean, there's no way to hide it. It's just that hit coming Nash to Dixon. There is so much energy loss. Coming into telephone here, she hits both bunks on the left wall, then out of Shamrock.
Yeah.
This one's the one that hurt because that is just friction. She actually hits the runners on both sides.
When you're looking out the side window to steer a bobsled, you know you are not having a good trip. It's not rally driving. 7 to go. Nadezhda Segova of Russia, Yulia Egoshenko. Greg, we rode up to the top of the track with these two, and they were very quiet. Segova shaking her head. She thought that she had a top 4 or 5 run potential here, and it just got away from her. Her former driver on the left-hand side in the shades, now coaching Victoria Tokovaya.
These two had the 4th fastest start in the first heat with a 5:51, but she had a really good kink 1 first run.
Oh!
Doesn't match it. Woo! Back in, kicked out, 5:54, but it's negated. 3rd fastest velocity. All the momentum is out of the sled. You cannot do that off the top.
You hate it because she needs a good run now to try and undo the damage of the first heat. 1800s up when she sat down, 700s remain. She'll be in the red at Sunny's exit, 100th in front.
All right, we got a race on her hands. If she puts her head down here and gets a good horseshoe, she's got a chance to pull it back, but she's got some work ahead of her. Up near the woodwork, pulls it off early. Better entrance in the telephone than Reinbold. She's up back 100, but 104.2, way down on speed on the Romanian girls.
Yeah, Andrea Greco, 105 kilometers an hour and 116.2 there. So Nadezhda Segova not only didn't outstart the tiny team of Romania, but she's going to lose her spot to them as well. She'll be in 2nd place of the line by not much, but enough. 700s back, that's gotta hurt. She was a little disappointed after the first heat. She'll be very disappointed not even to stay in 7th on a track where she really felt she should be in with a shout at a medal.
All 7 of those hundreds came on the exit of kink 1. She knows it. That is the spot. You can't do that. We're gonna watch them load in the sled here, see if there was anything. Maybe she got caught in the D-rings or something.
Well, she gets in and she's got the steer. She just took too much of kink 1. Look, she's trying to steer away and the pressure is still there at the back of the sled. Ziggy-zaggy. That has got to hurt. So Andrea Greco leads for Romania with 6 sleds to go. And Van Nieuwenhuis will be calling the race with me tomorrow for the 4-man competition. Let's see what she's got in the tank here with Sarah Ertz, her brakewoman. Can she pull up a spot?
Go, 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 go!
first job will be to stay ahead of the Romanians. They've got 2100s, 2200s over Andrew Grecu from the first heat and a decent exit from Kink 1.
Improves on their first heat start time, 5:67 to a 5:68. Has a much better Kink 1 than the Russians had. But look at nice and calm, Kink 1 to Kink 2. We don't see the runners moving. She's letting the sled run, and she extends. She's out to 200s in the green. She's got a chance here. The Belgian Bullet sleds have built good speed all season long.
Well, they'll need to. The Romanians fastest at every speed trap so far.
Dead heat, big hit going into Nash.
Comes dead straight down into Horseshoe. Needs the height, needs to land it. Big bump there, so it's out of the back seat. 103 to 105 at Grecu. Andrea Grecu is moving up into at least a top 6 finish here.
Anne's really gonna have to put it together here. Back a quarter of a second, 114.1. She's down on speed. She's gotta have a perfect bottom here to have a chance. Good exit of Gunther Sachs. We know there's 210s hiding in Martineau. Can she find it? Letting the sled fly.
Hits the wall between Martineau and Portago. Ducks from sight, but still only third at 108.96. And so Teodora Vlad on the right and Andrea Grecu on the left continue to climb the order. 10th after the first heat. They are knocking on the door of a top 5 as they will now be no worse than 6th. And Anne slipped 2 spots behind Sergiva.
See that big hit going into Dixon.
Yikes.
The nose goes away, takes it up to the woodwork, but watch the runner tips here. She's gonna pull it off. You can watch him turn. She really pulls it off the corner, and then Martineau hangs it up on the exit, comes out and doesn't take the tap, takes the hit.
Yeah, that late pressure at the exit of Martineau's catching every sled out. 5 to go, including all 3 of our German sleds. First up is Anna Kohler with Lena Zenikowski behind her. Lena, 26-year-old decathlete. And Anna Kohler's career worst result, 17th place here in last year's World Cup race. Oh, 560 and keeps it straight out of Kink 1.
I think she's going to improve on the 17th fastest.
You think?
The 17th place.
Yeah, there's a good shot of that.
It's looking good. See her coming down, Kink 2 into wall, got a big lead. 3,700ths up, and she has a nice velocity. Oh, she comes out of wall and hits left going into the snakes. We see rough on the entrance and the exit. That's going to eat into it a little bit. We'll see it really manifest itself on the next split.
3rd in Sigulda, a couple of 4ths, a 5th and a 7th place this season, but this is a really rattly ride.
I think this track is still pretty greasy from earlier. She's down to 2/10 in the back, 104.7. Slower speed than the Romanian girls.
Yeah, the Romanians with 116.2. She's there right now. She's holding them back. She's stopped the bleeding. And if she can survive through Martineau and Portago, the graveyard of time, then she should have the lead and a guaranteed top 5 finish.
Big speed, 140. She'll be the leader at the line.
There you go, 108.61. Well, Andrea Grecu's 108.35, still comfortably the best trip down the mountain in this second heat.
Anytime you come across the line and see that one finger hanging up there, you know it's good. It's way better than to hold your spot after a rough run than have a pretty one and drop one.
Yep.
So you're coming out of wall, first sled all day to come out and hit that left wall. You can tell because there's no tracks. And then she comes over and almost clips going into Snake 2. And then going into Dixon, same thing. Clips that left wall, gets knocked away. But big speed at the bottom, fastest of the day, 140.5.
Yep. Skidded through Martineau and Portago without hitting the wall. Anna Kohler, the race leader, with 4 to go. 4th place in Altenburg, a career high for Misha McNeil, with Montel Douglas now with Alicia Kiddle behind her. The British duo have an opportunity to tie their career best. 4th place after the first heat. 500s clear of Anna Kohler in Heat 1. They need a clean, tidy run. And her mindset is now, stick it, hold this spot, don't have the big skid. She gets away with it just about.
5:67 start time, 200 slower than her first heat, but she had that big skid. She's not trusting it right now. You see the sled starting to weave on her. 1200's back. Misha needs a really good run here through the bottom to go after the Germans.
Well, Anikola didn't have great speed until the bottom of the track. Misha had a very smooth run in the first heat, and the sled produced big numbers. Let's see if she can do it again. Safely out of Sunny. Nash to Dixon, a little nudge like everybody gets, but she's tracking on the right side into Horseshoe. Decent height and a decent landing. 700's back, the gap's coming right down.
104.9, pretty good speed, second fastest speed of the day out of Horseshoe. She's got the sled back on track now. She needs a good 4 rights to get it right. She's 100 back, big speed, 116.1. If she can get through Günther Sachs and stay off the wall, she's got a chance to take the lead.
And she stays off the wall. The German sled at 140 kilometers an hour. How close will she be? A bit of a hit. She's not going to make it to the line. She'll lose a spot. She does by just 700s. 108.73 for Misha McNeil, the run. So that's a 5th position guaranteed. It was always a little bit of a tall order to try and catch Mariama Yamanka in front of her for bronze, but 5th position is not the worst result. She was 7th in the last couple of seasons here, so moving up into at least 5th place.
We see that hit on the wall going into Dixon. It pushes the sled away, but she stayed parallel. There was no skid. Gets it up near the woodwork in Horseshoe. You see her looking for the exit, and she threads the needle through, I think.
Yeah, looked like it. Alicia Kittle didn't bounce. I know there's not a lot of her, but she didn't bounce out the seat. So Misha McNeil guaranteed at least her 2nd best career result, unless somebody flakes. Next up, the Olympic champion, Mariama Yamanka with Franziska Bertels, whose last World Cup race was in Altenburg last January, where she got crashed by Stephanie Schneider. Oh, and Yamanka did exactly the same in the first heat. A huge slide that denied her momentum at the top of the track.
Once again, this track is greased up. The afternoon sun is pelting down on it. When your Olympic champion kicks it sideways into the wall, you know it's not easy. They got a 1/4 second in the bank, though, coming into the Snakes. I think she's got a chance to hold on.
Well, she was 2/10 ahead of Anikola, the current leader from the first heat, and she's just adding a fraction to that. She made these mistakes in the first heat. She hasn't managed to tidy them up in the second.
Oh, big hit on the left wall. She comes out of Horseshoe. She's on the wrong side of the track. Clips again. She's up 3/10 of a second, but watch that time come down.
Silver medalist last year with Annie Tracek. 3/10 is the margin. She stopped the bleeding again, and that's what she's able to do. She can make a mistake and then limit the damage. Another touch. Speed at the bottom is still good. Transponder on her sled isn't showing it at the moment, but at the line, she's got enough to stay in front. 108.56, and again, just going to say this once more, Andrea Grecu of Romania, 108.35 second heat, still comfortably quicker. You hear the frustration from Mariama Yamanka. Now she expects perfection of herself. She doesn't just hope she'll get in the top 3.
We see her going through kink 1 here. She gets all of the corner, a little overcorrection, and at that point, there's nothing you can do. Same thing going into Dixon. Takes that hit, but she doesn't freak out. The sled's going parallel with the corner. You see her coming into telephone, though, and
Boom.
that one hurt.
Yeah. So there's Franziska Bertels. At least she didn't get crashed this time. 2 to go, Germany and the USA, and only Kaylee Humphries in the last 15 years has won a race on this track as not a German or an American. And that was back in 2013-14 with Heather Moyes. So it's down now to Stephanie Schneider to try and overhaul Alana Myers-Taylor. Schneider 2nd in the first heat, 1200s off the lead. Good start, 5:51.
Basically the same start time as their first heat. Still comes out and tags that left wall, but she's got the sled tracking straight now. She's got green numbers as she goes in the wall. She has a 1/4 second in the bank as well.
Well, she was 10th up over Yamanka from the first heat, so she's outdriven her teammate already.
Big flop out of Snake 1, though. She was drifting late. She extends, though, 3/10 of a second.
Yeah, that's because she didn't back it out of kink 1. She gets less of a hit out of Nash and Dixon, but squirrely into the Horseshoe. Can't get the line she wants. Daren't risk the woodwork and the crash. 3/10 up, but the speed's not great.
She needs a good bottom of the track here if she wants to take a chance on taking gold away from the Americans. 3/10. She's pulling away.
1:14.4. Grecu was 1:16.2. Not sure what sled the Romanians are running, but boy, it flies here. She will have the lead over teammate Mariama Yamanka. It'll be down to about 1900s. 1:08.50 after those clatters in the graveyard of time. But she leads with 1 to go. It is Germany 1, 2, 3. Alana Myers-Taylor next to go, has not won this year, but Lisa Gericke and Stephanie Schneider will be at least in the silver medal position.
What is amazing to me right now is no matter what, the Romanians are going to have nothing less than the second fastest heat, or second fastest run of the heat. We see a couple of mistakes here from Stephanie Schneider. She's letting the sled go. She does hold her spot with a 3/10 gap, but if she wanted to chase down Alana, she needed something a little bit cleaner than that. She's gonna have to hope the Americans really let the wheels fall off.
Yep. Well, there is Stephanie Schneider on the left, Lisa Gericke on the right. And here, Alana Myers-Taylor and Lauren Gibbs. Lauren back on the sled after a major weight trimming campaign so she could make weight with Alana. This is a real problem for the athletes. The maximum weight for the two athletes favors the short among them. These pair won 3 years ago, and Alana has not been beaten since they took gold in 2015-16 on this track. Another big start, 5:36, just shows the field a clean pair of heels and a great kink one. And she was nearly flawless in the first heat, Greg.
Great looking top third of the track. She's got 4/10 in the bank, and she has a speed advantage right now. Alana just needs to sit back, relax, and enjoy this St. Moritz track.
Well, she loves this place. This is where her husband Nick proposed to her after the World Championships in 2013 when she and Katie Eberling took silver. And for that reason, if no other, this is one of her favorite places on the planet. She rattles her way down the bottom part of the track. It should not matter. She is in such a great frame of mind today. Look, she's pulling away still.
6/10 up, big speed, 1:15.4. A little tap on the wall there, but there's not enough track. As long as she can get down through Martineau here, she's home free. Little tap on the wall, not going to matter. Alana's Myers-Taylor, Lauren Gibbs, you are winners with a track record. 1:08.02, 6/10. Oh, faster than the next fastest sled. Nice job from the Americans.
All right, stunning effort from Alana Myers-Taylor. She had the start record and the track record in the first heat with Lauren Gibbs. They tie the start record and they get a new track record in the second, and still they need to push it up the hill because I can't believe she got a track record there and more hits than Elvis in the same run.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. I mean, every driving error you can make, apart from kink 1 and 2, she hit everything there was to hit. That was a Rico Peter run of all time. Now, she's pretty breathless. We're over 2,000 meters up in the Alps here, and she's been feeling a little under the weather. She was really unwell last week in Innsbruck. I mean, just grey after the second heat. I think she needs a week off as bad as anybody on tour. But what a way to round out the European campaign for Alana Myers-Taylor. Her 4th straight bobsled win in St. Moritz, the greatest track on the planet. No disrespect to the others.
Now, St. Moritz is a step above the longest track in the world, made by hand. It's so quiet, it's so smooth, and the views are amazing. Not to mention you get to go ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
Well, for Lauren Gibbs, all those hits on the wall. She's had bruises on her hips for days. Alana Myers-Taylor, Lauren Gibbs win. Germany 2nd, 3rd, or 4th with Stephanie Schneider, Mariama Yamanka, and Anna Koehler. Then Misha McNeil in 5th position, ahead of Andrew Greco of Romania. Great drive from the Romanian girl. Nadezhda Sergeva, Anna Neuenhaus, and the rest of them finish up our order. Well, a breathless finish to the race. The Germans piled on as much pressure as they could possibly find. But like yesterday's women's skeleton race, Mimi Reneva finds something very special spiritually, mentally about this track. clearly Alana is in the same comfort zone.
Absolutely. I mean, Alana, there were some hits, but Alana's really letting the sled fly. That means she's not overdriving it. But you got to go back and look at the timesheet. Her and Lauren Gibbs outpushed the next fastest sled by almost 0.3 of a second.
Yeah.
Multiplied out, that is a 9/10 advantage down the track. So they won this race on the start ramp. So kudos to her and Lauren. Great job being fast, getting down, being quiet, and managing the top of the track.
It's got to be everything. It can't just be the start. It can't just be the sled. It can't just be the runners. It can't just be the driver. Individually, none of those add up. All four together, there's your winning combination. And there's another winning combination. Moritz Moragal, way up high in the mountains there, 2,500 meters above sea level. And a little lower down here above the start area is Dracula's Start Lodge. A great place to come and watch bobsledding action. That's why it draws the great and the good, and scumbags like us as well. we get to go there as well occasionally. So fantastic end to the women's race. Alana Myers-Taylor, 4 straight. She started the cycle again, but unless Brianna Jones comes back for next year, she's going to have to win it with a different brakewoman. And, you know, where's the synchronicity in that? There you go, 4 in a bounce. So she's got a better record here now than anybody other than the great Sandra Kyriasis, who won no fewer than 5 in a row in her pomp. Just by the lady in the blue hat, you go, oh, that's not Hans Hildebrand. He is up at the top. I saw him a little earlier, but he's here watching the action as well, the legendary Swiss bobsledder. Dracula's Start Lodge, right over the start area here at St. Moritz, the venue for the last European race in the Women's Bobsled World Cup. Mariama Yamanka still leads the points from teammates Stephanie Schneider and Anna Kurland. Nadezhda Sergeva in 4th, but Alana Myers-Taylor, who scored no points at all after technical disqualification in Sigulda, has now vaulted away up to 5th. And after never being off the podium this year, she finally has victory here in St. Moritz, her 4th straight race win on this track. We won't see Alfia Willemsen again this season. That one-off race in Winterberg, a fond farewell from her. Alana Myers-Taylor not saying farewell to anybody or anything just yet. She and Lauren Gibbs claimed the first gold medal of the season for Alana. And that's got to feel good, Greg, after being on the podium and looking up at others for the first 4 races that she's finished this year.
Yeah, Alana doesn't like to not be on the top step, and she had fire in her eyes for the last couple days. She wanted this race. Her and Lauren came to play. It showed on the start ramp, and then Alana did a good job of building speed down the track. It might have been a little bit loose, but everybody was. You go back and look. We saw a lot of hits today. It's those that didn't overcorrect.
North America in a couple of weeks for now. There's 4-man racing tomorrow. Join me, Martin Haven, and the IBSF TV crew for that, the final day of action in gorgeous St. Moritz. Till then, goodbye from Switzerland.